Joined us after our closed session. Wait a minute. Special meeting. Da. All right, never mind. Nobody's joined us. So, in connection with item A, the board conducted the superintendent's progress report, and thank you very much for the detail that you provided us. We're on to item 5B, which is flag salute. Please join me in the flag salute. We'll get to practice this a lot today. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, we're on to item 6A, which is public comment on items not on the agenda. I do not see anybody who wishes here to address us. So we're on to item number 7A, which is review of the St. Helena Unified School District Governance Handbook, Section 2, Roles and Responsibilities, discussion and information. And is there anyone who wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item? I guess I'll go ahead and start. So if everybody turn to Section 2, which is Roles and Responsibilities. We've got a couple minutes. Okay. Dr. Wilson and I talked about it, and what we wanted to do was to do a section. So rather than pick out pieces, so we just said, okay, let's just use Section 2. And so some highlight things. I'm going to talk about a little bit of things, and then Dr. Wilson will talk about the 3 essential groups in school districts. But one of the biggest things that I think that's written here is it says effective team members value and respect their roles, understanding the roles of the board and the superintendent and operate within their respective roles. The board and superintendent must work as a team to ensure the district has effective leadership. And so that's just something that, I mean, that's like our overarching kind of thought, but I always find that in italics underneath the broad thing, you tend to skip down. As we know, the board provides big picture, visionary leadership, and establishes the framework for the district work by adopting fair and responsible policies and procedures within the district operations. And we are also, of course, the conduit for the community. So the community reaches out to us, but it's up to us to make sure that we are staying with the big picture of what's best for all students. As we know, the superintendent is hired to be our chief executive officer for the district and basically does day-to-day operations. And we are using the evaluation tool, and that's how we say whether she is doing a good job or not doing a good job. So that's kind of our line there. And the biggest thing is, as a governance team, is that we all want to be working together to be moving, as I always call it, the train on the tracks. We want to keep rolling down the tracks and keep moving together and not having stops in between and kind of diversions. And so it's really important that the team kind of keeps following the path. When things comes up, anticipates it. That's why we have our governance calendar, so we can plan for things in the future, so that even though we've got bumps, we're not taking the train off the tracks or stopping, we're continuing on. Dr. Wilson, did you want to mention about the 3 essential groups?
I'd be happy to, yes. So there are 3 essential groups that make up a governance or a school district. The governance team, which I am a member of, and the 5 of you, along with Joe Browdy, our student board representative, are the governance team. And remember that you are the visionary team, you're strategic, you set direction for the district, and that visionary piece is what helps make transformational change. I also have the pleasure of being a part of the administrative group. And so I'm the conduit, I'm the liaison between the governance team and the administrative team. And the administrative team, that's leadership. They plan, they align, they create to ensure that there is the change made that is required to support the directions and the vision of the governance team. And the administration is that major link between the vision and making it happen, because that last team, which is really important, and are the boots on the ground, are our teachers and all of our staff members. They are truly the day-to-day operators. They carry out all of the plans to ensure that your visions are carried out in all aspects, in student achievement, in maintenance, in grounds, all aspects, finance, everything that is happening within this business known as a school district.
Thank you. I had already mentioned about holding the system accountable, basically the goals that the superintendent provides us and that we agree to, and then, of course, the evaluation process. As you know, there's been a rewrite on the evaluation process. It came from our discussions previously. Is everybody comfortable with what has been written? And thank you, Maria, for giving us the wordsmith the other day to be able to go forward with it. But is that, from what we talked about, I think it was a month and a half or 2 months ago, does that match up to what everybody is thinking would work well in the handbook?
Yes, it is, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And that will come back at the
Right.
board meeting tonight for action.
Right. And as you know, we've talked about the annual self-evaluation. We will always talk about it in regular session, what is coming up and what it consists of, because that's what we do annually. But then, as we've done before, then we talk about it usually at a special session, just not to take up time of the staff, so we can determine how things are going.
President Conwell, can I ask?
Yeah.
Can you help my memory and clarification? That's when we did that before, when we met in that room downstairs, right? And we talked about the results of our evaluation, correct? That was do we need to, hang on, let me get my thoughts together here. To discuss this assessment at a regularly scheduled board meeting, that is what we did down there, correct?
We discuss, right.
Okay.
Right.
Just wanted to make sure that was one and the same.
The assessment and the criteria of what we're going to do.
Okay.
But then we're not necessarily going to have it in a regular scheduled meeting, the results.
And we don't need to add that into the governance handbook to say that because I guess it just could be determined by each individual board every time it comes up. Okay.
It
Perfect.
usually is flexibility of when we filled it out.
Okay.
And when we're having a meeting.
Okay.
And what time we think it's going to take.
Sure.
And the superintendent and the president review it, and we discuss whether we think that this is an avenue that's going to take a major discussion.
Okay.
And then we're going to try to put it in another venue besides a board meeting, or if we think everything's trucking along, let's put it in a regular scheduled
Great.
meeting. So it's kind of the flexibility.
Okay, perfect.
That we've done.
Okay.
With that.
Thank you. That sounds
Yeah.
great.
And President Conwell, if I could add, I believe the intent of that final sentence in the board's self-evaluation around discussing the assessment and the criteria in a regular meeting was to provide input to the five of you. You're doing this evaluation once a year. And so it's kind of calibrating expectations around that self-evaluation and the aspects of the evaluation from CSBA that may or may not align with what you are doing here in the district, and so that you can identify the questions that are important for you all to answer and the ones that perhaps you don't need to answer.
Yeah.
So it's that calibration and discussion prior to taking the evaluation.
Thank you.
So just because I just wanted to clarify, I like the fact that we're not saying that we're always taking the CSBA evaluation, because this leaves us an opportunity to move to something different if we decide to do so. And then the other question I have, this is going to be, so it is on the governance calendar then every.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? So item F, I am just as guilty as I think every one of us in the first one, because it happens August 1st, and the first notice I have that I'm supposed to do it is usually my fine late notice from the county. And so it's just impossible for me to remember. But anyway, the good news is the other one, the Form 700, Erica reminds us, and so we get that one turned in on time. So I think we're going 50% on those. And of course, it's very silly. The first one, all we do is sign it and turn it in. There's nothing actually that is it all comes from us. So on that.
It should all be online, be able to do it online actually next year as well.
Oh, that will be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, this year it was.
well, actually, did you do it online? Because I got fined because mine didn't get submitted. So, but, okay.
Yeah. Did you do it through the county?
Yes, it was, but she said, don't worry, next year it'll all be streamlined and you
Right.
don't have to do paperwork and sign anything.
Right.
So that's.
Good. Excellent. We like that. The last item we wanted to talk about was board member social activity engagement. And I believe Erica and the superintendent do a fantastic job of highlighting kind of in yellow at certainly in the Friday memo of the must-do events or where they would like to have representation. And so that's what before we kind of had it really comes into play in May and early June when there's 4 things going on every single day. And so just as always, strive to be there and to the ones that you say you're going to do, so we always are covered. I mean, that's kind of the goal. Any other questions concerning that? Okay. With that being said, that completes that. So is there a motion to adjourn from the special meeting of the Board of Trustees? And time is 2:30.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Okay, perfect.
Okay.